Okay, so it has been outrageously hot here. We're having a major heat wave. It's going on for a little more than a week, I think. Up into the high 90s, low hundreds, and it's going to be this way for 2 more days. And I have been working to support these guys through this, because with birds, you can put these guys in freezing weather and those feathers will keep them. They can withstand all kinds of cold as long as they can stay out of the wind. But the heat is just deadly. There's not really an escape from all those feathers. So I've done all kinds of things. They have a sunshade that's, a piece of painter's canvas tarp. This is the west side of the cage over here. And I put this foil padded insulation stuff to reflect the sunlight so that they don't get full sun all afternoon. So that's some basic stuff that's there all the time. When the weather gets really, really hot, what I do is they have an earthen bottom to their cage, and I come out here with the hose a couple of times in the afternoon when it's really hot, and I just sprinkle the bottom of the cage so it's wet. This does 2 different things. First of all, evaporating water cools the air, so it literally cools the flight cage. The second thing is, it took them about a day and a half to figure out that the ground is cool, whereas if you're flying up there at the top of the cage, it's hot. So when I come out here in the afternoons, it's mid-evening right now, about 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's only about 85 right now, thank God. When I come out here in the middle of the day, they are spending all day. They'll find a little place where kick the dirt and stuff around until they find a nice bald spot of damp earth, and then they just lay down. And that's what they've been doing. So these guys are in a good position because they are self-monitoring. This cage is so big that, I put up some sunshades, give them lots of water, and water the bottom of the cage. And if they're really desperate to get cool, they can go down there on the ground and lay in the dirt, in the wet earth, and stay cool. This is the blessing of a flight cage, where they're free to take care of themselves. They can do whatever they need to do in order to survive. Same thing with my holding cages over here. This is the girls' side over here, boys' side over there. I've been spraying the bottom, making damp earth so that it can evaporate and cool their cages, and so they can go down and lay in the dirt, in the damp dirt, if they need to. Then you get into the breeding cage over here, the breeding shed, and these birds are all confined in here. They're stuck. They can't fly down to the bottom of the cage because they're in a breeding cage. So they can't self-monitor as well. They can't take care of themselves as well as my birds that are in free flight cages. So I have been killing myself to try and get this cooled off. So there's a fan down here. It's set on a timer. It comes on at 12 noon and goes off at 8 o'clock at night. And I got creative, especially for these guys in the upper cages. I put a box of dirt in their cage, and I got it good and wet. So actually, if you push down on the top of that dirt, there's seed sprinkled in it too. But if you push down on the top of it, you can get a little water out of it. So it's really damp, but not like quagmire mud, And I just put those in last night because they adapt better to things when they wake up with them in the morning. And you can see, like, for instance, this up here, I sprinkled some seed on it. He never touched it. That seed is exactly the way I put it. These guys down here were definitely messing around with this. So I think it'll probably take, and there's Brad sitting right on his. They walk around on it. It's cool. They eat a little off of it, and they will figure out. Look at these two up here. You can't even tell that there was ever any seed on this. They were definitely all over this. So they figure out that it stays cool on that little patch of dirt there, and they'll start laying down on it. These guys made a big mess. These two didn't touch it. You can totally tell the difference. These two down here, oh, they ate all the seed. Look at that. So, really fighting the heat. Tomorrow it's going to be 103, which is killer temperature. That's deadly temperature. So, I stumbled onto this beast at Home Depot. It's a misting system. It's a regular fan that sits on top of a 5-gallon bucket with a water pump and a little hose that goes down into it, and it pumps the water out. Spray comes out of these two little things right here, and the fan blows it. And this thing, it's a swamp cooler, and they really, really work. So I got that today, and I got it set up and put it out here and gave it its trial run, and oh my goodness, it cools down the whole shed really nicely. So I'm glad I have it, because 103 degrees will kill these birds. It's higher than their body temperature, and they have no way to escape it. So you can bet tomorrow, this thing, if I fill up the bucket and charge it, it runs on a charged battery. It runs for about 4 hours. So I will wait till about 2 in the afternoon when it's really getting ugly, and I'll load her up and turn it on and let it run until it runs out, so that they can get some escape from the terrible heat. We're supposed to have 2 more days of this, and then it's going to drop down to the mid-90s. Thank you, Lord. Which is, again, 103 is bad. It's above body temperature, and if they can't escape it, they'll die. So I am giving them every opportunity, every way I can think of, to keep these guys cool, especially the ones here that are trapped in the smaller cages and have fewer options as far as taking care of themselves and doing what they need to do to stay comfortable. So 2 more days of this, and then I get to stop fretting, at least until the next time. But, you know, it's the beginning of summer. We don't usually get sustained heat waves like this. It usually goes for a few days and then stops, but climate change will get you every time. So taking care of my breeders, that's handling the heat. Again, these guys have, that's a painter's tarp on that side, because that's the east side, so it's just blocking morning sunlight. Here on the west side, they have there's a space along the top to let warm air come out the top. There's a space at the bottom because they need ventilation, and the rest of this is this padded, foil-wrapped insulation, and there's a layer of it up there on the roof too. Trying to keep these guys from perishing in the heat. Okay, that's another update on how to handle the heat. Ta-ta.